I've been reading comics and drawing comics as well for, good Lord, it must be over 20 years now. So I think I'm pretty familiar with, a lot of different kind of comics. And with this anthology and also the previous volume, I just had to trust my intuition on which are the stories, which are the artists that really stuck with me through all that time. Even things that were relatively new, that gets a little more complicated because I haven't had as much time to digest those. But again, it's kind of an intuitive sense of, I think these are artists or stories that are going to stick with me. It's the same thing, the same process that I might use to create a comic story. I tried to use that process to put together the book, as opposed to stepping back from it and putting a pipe in my mouth and my sweater and looking at it purely academically and putting things into categories. And I guess that approach just doesn't appeal to me because I'm not built that way. So I treated the whole project as if it were a creative project on my part of how to assemble all these things. And I think that's akin to assembling a comic story. I wanted to focus these two books on the idea of working with a static page, images on a printed page. It's a sort of you're looking at something static that has the illusion of coming alive or having a sense of movement or life to it. You're in someone else's head for a while, and you start to see the way they view the world, the way they experience the world, and sometimes that just clicks where we feel that connection. It could be because somebody's articulated something that we have felt but have not been able to articulate in any way. And they've put it on paper, and that gives us a sense like, gee, I'm not alone, and that's a great feeling to have sometimes. And other times, you read something that's completely alien maybe to the way you experience the world, but there's also a pleasure in that because it opens up your mind to like a different way of experiencing reality, really, and that could be just as affecting and just as deep. My secret hope is that there's going to be some budding cartoonists that read them that will actually be inspired to try to tell their story or whatever kind of story they want to tell. But, always I think the point of any art is to kind of open people's eyes and minds to things that we either, take for granted or don't notice or dismiss. And it's the job of the artist to pay attention to all those things and to give voice to those things. And ultimately maybe it's, like you're just trying to add to the human race, like a little more empathy. Maybe that's the point of all art, any kind of art. Even drawing, I think, forces you to have empathy for the whole universe.